When you're afraid of failure and you don't take action, you kind of feel like a failure, don't you? Because your dream haunts you a little bit. So the thing that you're most afraid of, you've already got. Because you're really struggling underneath this big dream that you have.
You know, life is a roller coaster ride for everybody. It has its ups and its downs. But it's a fact of the matter that everybody, no matter if you're a big artist, a successful artist, or a successful businessman, everybody works hard to get somewhere.
You keep thinking you're waiting for the right time. When winter comes, you go find your little acorns, right? You think you're gonna find them? Let me tell you something. You keep burying those dreams, the longer you wait, the harder they are to find. It's time you dig those things out right now and find them and put them right in front of you again and go chase them.
First and foremost, you need to cut out the bull crap. I mean, way too many people are watching Lost, you know? I mean, if you're not happy and you want to make something of yourself or you want something big to happen and you're out there, you know, focusing on, you know, playing too many video games, the Nintendo Wii, this, that, and the other thing, you've got to absolutely address that. And I think that that is a very, very big deal. I just think people are saying, oh, I wish. You know, you've got to do. And there's really no alternative to doing. And, you know, that's what I think people need to recognize. I think that they have to absolutely positively recognize that the only way to succeed is to execute. And the only way to execute is by doing it after hours, because you've got responsibilities, right? You've got to pay the mortgage. You've got to pay your college tuition. These are all real things. And unless you come home and work till 2 o'clock in the morning, nothing's going to happen.
When you see me and I'm surfing or I'm hanging out with my family or I'm training jiu-jitsu or I'm traveling and having a good time and enjoying my life, you're seeing the freedom part. And what you have to remember, and what everyone here should remember, everyone here wants to enjoy their life to the maximum. But if you want that kind of freedom, it all starts with the discipline.
We all make excuses because we don't want to give ourselves the time, and that's what it comes down to. You don't want to give yourself the time, and you have to ask, why don't you give yourself the time? What is the thing that's blocking you from giving yourself the time? I believe that time doesn't really exist. It only exists on the clock. It's what you put into it. So time is really the energy you put into something. A deadline is a deadline, I get it, but procrastination is a barrier. So give yourself time and stop making up excuses not to have time.
It doesn't really matter how busy you are. We're all busy. If you really care, you'll find the time.
No matter what, I don't care how amazing your life is or how low it gets. Your inner wisdom is always with you. Always. And the key to getting what you want is having the clarity to tune into that wisdom. Having the courage to listen to it and having the confidence to actually take action.
Your life would feel better and richer if you had a goal, you chased that goal, you accomplished some things, and you would get this boost of confidence, you get this boost of self-esteem.
You set goals to grow. You set goals to reach inside and stretch and go where you've never been. You set goals to take you to a place you've never gone before. And you grow as a human being, and you know something, you never go back.
Remember, these dreams are going to put you in really scary places, and that's okay. It's okay that you don't know what you're doing. That's normal. It's normal to be scared. Go out there. Go after those dreams. You have to understand that your life is up to you. The actions that you can control, when you connect your head and the heart, it not only magically starts pushing you forward, but you'll start attracting some other people that will buy into your dream with you. And when that happens, then you're unstoppable.
I have a question for you. What's your next chapter? I'm dead serious. What is the next chapter of your life? I don't care how young you are, how old you are. I want to turn the tables back on you. I want you to think about where you've been. I want you to think about, why are you here? There is a new chapter starting in your life, in your business, in your relationships, and it's going to start right now. So what is it?
You know exactly what you're afraid of. You know exactly what you've been avoiding, and you got to make a decision to change it. You know exactly what it is. Don't BS anybody. You know what you need to do different. You know the changes you need to make. And if you can do that, you stop kidding yourself, you can win. You can overcome your fear, overcome procrastination.
You know when you are guilty of wasting time and laying in bed and you're being lazy. You know it. Whether that was 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, you know it.
You ever wake up and you feel that sense of dread? You got a job you hate going to? You got a body that you don't like? You just don't feel that good? So believe it or not, understand that anxiety, worry, procrastination, self-doubt, they are all habits. Self-doubt is a habit. It's a behavior, a thinking pattern that you repeat over and over, and then it becomes automated. In today's world, this is the #1 skill for you: self-control.
I think that everybody wants freedom in all the various aspects of their life. Of course, everyone wants financial freedom. Everyone wants to have more free time. Those are two really easy examples to understand. And if you want to have financial freedom, well, then how are you going to get there? The answer is you have to have financial discipline. And same thing with more free time. If you want to have more free time, then you have to have a more disciplined time management schedule.
I want you to leverage the progress principle. I want you every morning to write down one thing that you can do. Just one thing today. Forward is forward. I don't care how small it is. Because what happens is when you start to see yourself taking action on something that's important to you, whether it's just researching or taking a little online course or just buying a book or just having a conversation or just watching a video, if you do that every single day, what happens is you start to see yourself becoming the kind of person that's doing it. This is the secret to everything.
You know, people say, how can I get disciplined in my life? And I tell them, step #1 is wake up early. It seems like sleeping in the morning is a form of freedom because, hey, I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to sleep in. But the reality is when you sleep in, now you don't get things done. And now those things that you were supposed to do aren't done. And now the next day you have to wake up early and get them done, not because you want to, but because you have to. So you've become a slave to the fact that you didn't have discipline. So if you actually want to have freedom in your life, you have to implement discipline on yourself. And I'm not advocating because it's unhealthy to not sleep enough, you know, and if you need 8 hours, go to bed earlier. But, you know, and I'm not saying you need to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I am saying this. If you want to wake up early in the morning, go to bed earlier. Well, that's real simple to say, but it's hard to do. It's hard to do, #1, when you're looking at your phone. It's hard to do when you're staring at your computer screen. It's hard to do when you're watching TV. Those things are meant. They're designed to make you keep looking at them. And so you do. So what you need to do is turn those things off and try and go to bed. Now, the first night, you're going to have a hard time going to sleep. What you do is the next morning, you wake up early anyways.
Along the journey, there's going to be things that you need to do, but you don't necessarily want to do. But those things are critical to your success.
Excellence is an art won by training and habituation. We do not act rightly because we have virtue or excellence, but rather we have those because we have acted rightly. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit.
The most important thing you can do is win the morning. Just win the morning, man. I think that's true for all of us, even high performers. Like I don't have my morning routine game. I feel, you know, out of sorts. So I think it's true for everybody. You got to own your morning. You got to win it because that starts and sets up everything else. I know you believe that as well. Like people need that discipline, those routines that will help the rest of their day go better.
You need to focus on doing better every freaking day of your life. If doing better is not the main thing, it will not be a thing at all. If being successful is not the main thing, it will become nothing.
To feel more confident about the things that you want to do in your next chapter, it begins with being willing to try. It starts with that. Otherwise, you get trapped in hesitating.
Just stop thinking, worrying, looking over your shoulder, hoping for some easy way out. Stop it and just do.
Listen to me. You got to make a decision. What's the decision? What's the decision? What have you been hesitating on? What are you afraid of? Face it right now. What do you need to decide? Is it getting aggressive? Is it believing in yourself? Is it reaching out to somebody? Is it a recruit you've missed? Is it coming full time? I don't know what it is for you. What's the decision? Maybe there's someone in your life that needed to get out of your life. Maybe there's someone you need in it and you need to tell them you love them and get them back in it. I don't know. But I know this. It's only a thought if you don't take an action. The difference between a thought and a decision is an action. So we know and you just decided and you know what it is. You know what it is.
Take a minute. Take 5 minutes. You start your day not with confession, not with your request. You start it with gratitude.
Every morning when we wake up, we need to empty out anything negative from the day before. Somebody offended you at work. They didn't treat you right. It's easy to let that offense stay. Feels good to carry around a grudge, but you have to be disciplined. Say, no, I am not giving this offense any room. I am not going to let it sour my day.
Smile. First thing when you get up in the morning, wake up and smile. This might seem stupid, but the very act of smiling, moving your facial muscles, is connected to all sorts of happy feelings in your brain. It's almost impossible to be upset when you're smiling. You can try it for yourself. The more time you spend in a positive mood, the more you'll condition yourself to be in a positive mood. The more time you spend in a negative mood, the more you'll condition yourself to be unhappy and sad. You're always going in one direction or the other, consciously or unconsciously. So why not get in the habit of conditioning positivity and happiness?
Envision a great life. Plan your life. Think about where you want to go and not just where dinner's going to be tonight. And then go fight like crazy and live the life you designed.
Setting the intention when you get up in the morning and feel grateful for what you already have in your life.
Decide who you want to become and become that person. Doesn't matter where you start, doesn't matter who you were born to, doesn't matter what your DNA is. You can become anyone you want to become. So I have no doubt that you can become special. I have no doubt that you can do amazing things that other people simply believe are not possible. But it's a choice, and it's based on your actions and what you do and your willingness to suffer and grow and fail and learn from it and get back up and claw your way to the top. But it's in your control. So the current state of your life is all your fault, whether that's good or bad, but you can become anything you want. Just have to set your mind to it.
You must really go for your own and realize how short life is. You got what you got, so you got to make the most of it. You really can't spend a whole lot of time worrying. You really have to go for your own.
What we do is we kind of check out because it feels overwhelming. Or we check out because we're afraid. Or we check out because we start listening to self-doubt. And then we make these teeny tiny decisions all day long. We don't even realize it. A decision to not get up on time, a decision to not eat the right thing, a decision to snap at your kids, a decision to not speak in a meeting, a decision to not look for a job, a decision to not deal with your finances, whatever it is. All day long, these tiny decisions that take you so far off track.
Don't go through life looking in the rearview mirror, down on yourself, living in regrets. You can't do anything about the past, but you can do something about right now. Quit telling yourself, this is so hard. I'll never accomplish my dreams. I'll never get out of debt. This is a new day. You are going to have a strength that you did not have before.
You have something unique and amazing to offer to the world that nobody else can do.
You are not only unique, I think you're a bloody miracle, the fact that you were born who you were born. And there's a reason why you're here, and it's time to start to figure it out.
People that are successful do what the failures won't. So if you want to be successful, if you want to be happy and fulfilled, you got to do what everyone else is not willing to do. You've got to have a higher standard than everybody else.
Learn to plan every day. Did you know if you'll take 1% of your day to plan the other 99%, it will make the other 99% go a lot better? Did you know 1% only is 14 minutes a day? 14 minutes a day to make the other 99% to go better.
What do you want to visualize? What do you want to do with yourself, with your day, with your week, with your month, with your life? I find that this combination of being grateful and visualizing the world that I want to live in is a very, very powerful thing.
Get there. Get after it. Attack the day. Make things happen.
You hold the keys to the future.
I think so many people are keyboard activists, right? Everybody's good at sending a tweet about how the world should be, and nobody's doing anything about it, and that is just very much human nature.
I was just going to ask if you think that's human nature, or if you think that we've gotten soft as a culture.
Yes. You know, I mean, of course we've gotten soft as a culture in the US because the US has had an incredible 200-year run. Right? Like, this is just what happens. You know, so as a culture, you know, I can't speak for, you know, people that live in the Amazon River, and I can't speak for, you know, people that still live in Belarus, but the American culture is soft, and that's a great thing. That means there's been enormous amounts of prosperity, but let's not be naive. I mean, people literally complain when somebody gives them the wrong amount of like extra cream in a Starbucks $6 coffee. My lack of interest in complaining is so high, and when I watch what people complain about, it breaks my heart because they completely lack perspective. And I genuinely believe my happiness and optimism comes from my perspective. Even in political unrest times like right now, a lot of people are very bent out of shape, but the reality is that it's just never been better to be a human being. That's just the truth, that's just data, that's reality. And yeah, I mean, it's just a very fun time to be alive. An incredible time. And I think the way people look at the world right now, because it's such an incredible time, is actually the quickest tell to who they are. If you think it sucks or it's bad, you have losing, pessimistic DNA. And if you think it's awesome and phenomenal, you have optimistic, winning DNA. And I believe that to be true. And so that's where we're at. We're beating ourselves up. Like, everybody sucks at something, right? Like, we all have shortcomings and we all have strengths. And for me, it's like, why don't we just audit that? Like, why don't we just look at it that way and be like, all right, well, I'm good at this, but I'm not good at that. Like, and then I only focus what I'm good at, right? Like, I don't dwell that I can't fix shit around the house. I call somebody to fix it. Like, I'm not a man, I don't give a fuck. Like, you know, I don't get it. Like, we all, like, I also think it's awesome that I'm so emotionally stable and I'm the emotional backbone of everybody. Is that what a dude's supposed to do? Like these cliches, these stereotypes, they're so silly. I don't judge myself. I'm fully in love with myself. But I'm also fully in love with everybody else too, right? It's not like it goes both ways. Like, I tell people to buy into me, that work for me, it's because I buy into them first. Like, I don't need anybody to gain trust with me. It's there. Like, I believe that the human race is so grossly underrated. We are good. Of course we have some bad. There's fucking 7 billion of us. But like, when you look at our net score, it's bonkers shit. Like, do you know how much damage we could be doing to each other on an hourly basis? And we don't? Like, we're still here. Like, we won. We're the alpha being. And we've figured out how to stay together. This is insane when you think about it. And yet everybody wants to dwell on like somebody said something mean. If you want to be an anomaly, you have to act like one. Like, people want all these special things to happen, but then they're acting like everybody else. And that gets into the Saturdays in your 20s, like, or just like taking risks or things of that nature. Like, you know, if anybody watching right now, if there's anything they take away, it's like, look,
Like you're gonna only be so pretty, you're only gonna be so smart, there's things that are gonna be natural and then there's things that you can actually control. I do believe, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, I don't, but I do believe that work ethic is a taught behavior. It's something you do have more control over. And yeah, I think, and you know what really sealed the deal for me? Getting healthier. I was 38 years old and it didn't come natural to me. Like it didn't come natural to me at all. I hate the gym. I hate it now. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. But I knew it was important. And somewhere around midway through being 38 years old, I got serious. I figured out my system. I made the financial commitment and I've won, right? And I'll never lose again because the system was I needed to be accountable to another human being. So it was about Mike and now Jordan and whoever else is my trainer. I'm doing it almost weirdly more to not let them down than to, and so that was the shift. And so I feel like there's a shift that can make people work harder. The big one that I push is you're gonna die. Like if you're like to me, life is broken down into complaining and not. So if you're not complaining, well then I have no advice for you. I'm pumped. Like you did it. Like I have friends who make $42,000 a year, work 9 to 4, kind of, with an hour and a half lunch and 45 minutes of YouTube and 10 minutes of bullshitting and an hour of complete wasted time in a meeting. So they're kind of working like 6, hours a week, right? But they're pumped. Right. And they text me, these are high school friends, and they'll text me like how happy they are to be the coach of their kids' baseball team. And that's amazing. Like that seems very obvious to me. That's right. What's super weird? I'm actually weirdly envious. It sounds cool, like in theory, right? Grass is always greener, right? Like far less pressure, like all that time with my kids, oof, that would be cool. Like there's just like all these things that I can justify. So to me, but I have friends who have $100 million in the bank because of Facebook's IPO, who complain, who are still hungry, who want to do even more, who will complain to me because they know I work a lot about no work-life balance and they don't get to spend enough time with their family. And I'm like, you have $100 million. Like you could stay home. Like you're in control. Like don't complain about it. You've made that choice. Don't bullshit me. Like you want to spend more time with your family? Spend more time with your family. This is back to what we said about keyboard warriors. I'm trying to be very careful about what I'm saying versus what I'm doing because that's how you get exposed. And I don't mean like people calling you out and being like, you suck. I mean to yourself. I don't want to be exposed by myself. It's looking yourself in the mirror and saying like, am I doing this right? So to me, there's so many people that are talking shit about how big of an entrepreneur they're gonna be and how much they're gonna achieve, and they don't work on weekends. I worked every Saturday of my 20s. And I talk to 20-year-old entrepreneurs every single day. Lately, I've been saying to them, this Saturday, you're gonna have more time off than I've had in my entire 20s on a Saturday. So before you tell me how you're gonna be bigger than me, start thinking about what you're actually doing. I think about it as, that picture where it looks like two people kissing or it looks like a glass of champagne? I just basically think at this point in my business life, the world sees the glass of champagne and I see the two people kissing. I'm fascinated by the same thing that attracts so many of millions of people to people that are selling bullshit. Those same people are attracted to me. And what I want to do is suffocate out all those other people and become the alpha of that entire world of people that are hoping and are desperate to look at me. And what I want to do is inspire 2 14-year-old girls in Kansas City right now to build a $1 billion company on having a bunch of employees hugging each other in the halls. I think that Steve Jobs came along, became an icon, but the sad part of that narrative was he did not treat his employees well. He became an icon and the narrative became he got the most out of people by being a jerk, and that became romanticized. And a lot of people in Silicon Valley today run companies where they're mean because they think that's the right thing to do because they put Steve Jobs on a pedestal. I want my pedestal moment. I want to become that big. And what I want to come from that is that kids that aren't even born today think that they can build a $5 billion company and be a great guy or a great gal. I want to build the biggest building in town ever by just building the biggest building in town while I think most people try to tear down everybody else's building. So I think positivity and good is practical advice to building an empire. And I want to be the poster child of the person that built the biggest, baddest empire and did it by being a good dude along the way. And not everybody's gonna be happy about everything I did, but if it's 97% of people talking good behind your back, that's a real legacy. And I wanna do it in a pop culture way. I'm gonna do it anyway. People have done that before. Just so you know, there's plenty of people, Warren Buffett's a really good dude. Like there's plenty of people that have done that. There's a difference. I wanna do it and I wanna be a rock star, right? Like, and that's where you influence people. Like, you know, like I wanna do it, but I also wanna be the most popular. And so then that person's like, oh, I wanna be him, so I guess I'll be nice. Like I wanna literally take people who have DNA that's kind of nice and make them more nice because they think that's how I became big. So I basically wanna trick the business world into becoming kinder.